Hey guys, today we're working on a Samsung VRT Plus HE model. And a lot of them look like this, have a lot of different options. This one has this little tray here where you can add different items. There's your tag and model number. But essentially what's going on with this, it won't complete the final spin. Everything else seems to work good. Now I already know what the issue is. I'm going to show you how you can determine that this is your issue for yourself, to make sure that you don't buy the wrong parts and that you can indeed fix it. So first off, there's several things that can go wrong with these machines when it won't complete the spin cycle. First and easiest to fix is essentially there's a sensor on the back attached to the very back, and what it does is it measures the vibration. It also tells it how fast it's going, I believe. But it's a vibration sensor. And so if you have a really big load in here, say it's sheets or towels, and they get bunched up and they end up on one side and the whole thing goes crazy, knocking around and just kind of completely knocks it out of sync, out of balance. It can mess up and decalibrate this sensor. That's easy to fix. And this fix will work if your shocks aren't bad. So you've never had an off-balance issue before. It doesn't continue to go off balance, yet now it just sits there and spins and spins and spins without going off balance. So if you're watching it, and it's at the 10, 9, 8 minute mark on the spin cycle and just keeps resetting itself, but it's not going off balance. You look down here through your door, you kind of see it down here, that little ring, and it's not jumping up and down. I mean, it seems to be working correctly, it just keeps resetting the time. Then that is going to be that little vibration sensor issue. Super easy to fix. All you have to do is you turn your machine on, and you're going to hold the temp and delay end 3 seconds, and then you'd hit start. And it goes through this thing that takes about 3 minutes, sings a little song at you, and it's all done. Okay? Super easy. That's not the issue here, though. The issue here is it gets going the same kind of way. So we get down to the spin, and it's got about 10 minutes left on it, and it gets down to 9 and 8, maybe even 7, and it resets itself to either 10 or 12 minutes, and it will do that for hours, and it never throws an error code. It just keeps doing that over and over and over again. But what you would notice on that, though, is you would notice that as it starts to get going, this starts to rock real good. And as it does, boom, 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 even if you only have 2 towels in there, it gets going real good. Bam, 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 and then it stops. And then it restarts it. Okay, that's how you would determine that it's your shocks. Also, you can do that little recalibration there, and it doesn't help. It doesn't do any good. Okay? But the other thing you want to watch out for is, how do you know it's not the spider arm assembly on the backside that's causing it? The bearings, essentially. And not the shocks. Maybe the shocks are good. Here's how you would know if it's the spider arm assembly. When those go bad, typically, see where these marks are? There is the bearings in the middle. Then you have this plate on the back that looks exactly like this indentation here. They call it a spider arm, but it basically attaches in the middle, comes out and screws in on the edges of the tub. And it's metal, but it's a type of metal that kind of degrades and breaks down over time. And what happens is it'll break here at one of these spots or all of these spots, and when it does, typically it lets loose one side. And if you did this to it, you'd hear what sounded like broken rocks falling down. You could spin your tub, you'd hear what sounds like gravel flying around in there. If it were the bearings, as I spin this, you'd hear it. Now that little noise there is probably just something stuck in one of these. That happens too. But I mean, it really sounds like something's falling down, and it sounds like gravel. So this one's good. There's no spider arm problem. It's not dragging or scraping. There's no slack on one side or the other. This thing feels good. It's nice, solid, and there's no crazy noises. See that? So the spider arm's good, the bearings are good, and sometimes the bearings can go bad and the spider arm's fine, and the spider arm can go bad and the bearings are fine. But spider arm's good on this one, bearings are good on this one, but what's not good is when I throw a couple towels in, or a whole load, doesn't matter, and we get down to that 8-minute mark, and I'm watching right here, and I see my silver ring right there. The silver ring inside there starts jumping like crazy. Boom, 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 boom. And it seems to trigger that vibration safety switch, and it resets the time up here. So that's how I know the shocks are bad. It's kind of hard to reach your hand down in here and push on it and say, oh, those are bad or those are good. Because even when you have the old shocks sitting next to the new shocks and you're manually moving it with your hand, they will feel the same to you. I don't know why, but that's just how it is. They'll feel exactly the same and you'll say, oh, this isn't the problem. But it is. And that's just how they work. I don't know if it's like the difference is when they're under tension from something super heavy like this, but I've done a bunch of these and I know that to be true every single time. So anyway, shocks are bad on this one, 4 shocks, and I'm going to show you right now. The shocks are super expensive. Do not buy your shocks on Amazon. Whatever you do, those are a waste of time, waste of money. You have to buy it from either Samsung's website, and they're expensive. The front shocks are like $73 and the back shocks are a little over $50. Or you go to appliancepartspros.com and you'll save like $5 off of each of those prices. Or you can go to Parts Doctor, and that's where you'll find the best price. The other thing is, I'll show you a little tip in the next part of this video here for possibly getting an even better deal, which is what I'm going to try to do, because it's what I always try to do. Alright guys, so we'll take a look here, and what you're going to see on the part numbers here. Here we got Amazon over here, and this is a set that has the 00470B and the A, which is the front and the back shocks, all in one kit. If you read through the reviews though, these shocks are terrible. Do not buy them. I've messed around with these in the past. They've never been good, even before all the parts issues with the pandemic and all that. But if you come over here to Parts Doctor, which does sell really good quality parts, and you type in the back shock, which is the 470B, you'll see that they're only about $27.67. These guys have the best price that I have found from a legit parts website. So I was able to order 4 of these, and it only cost me $128.28. That's over $100 worth of savings versus ordering it from anywhere else. These parts are twice this much, and then the front shock everywhere else is really expensive. However, what you'll notice though, in this picture over here on the left from Amazon is showing that these parts, they're basically the same. Almost exactly the same. And I've had my hands on these parts before, and they are the same. They mount up the same. Your little pieces here are exactly the same. Everything goes on the same. As a matter of fact, when I had some, I got confused which were which, and I installed them backwards and didn't even know the difference. Couldn't tell, and had to swap them. But there's no, in my opinion, they're all the same. So we're going to try it out anyway. We're going to try 4 rear shocks all the way around. Save some money that way, and see if we can get this thing up and running for the best possible price. And I'm sure if there's any issues with it, I'll find out. I also know that this hardware here, you can swap it out too. So if for some reason on the new ones it is different, you can pull all of that out and swap it over to the new shock, because I did that as well last time. So these are coming. This will conclude part 1 of this video. We'll pick it back up when these show up in 5 to 7 days. Thanks guys.